In the past, I didn't feel enough or seen. I used to feel rejected by my family or my surroundings sometimes. In the present, I feel that that may happen again and that influences me and paralyzes me. How can I move through that insecurity or shyness?
Well, it looks like you're already doing it. A little bit. Yeah. You know, the thing is this. We're so involved with our image and what people think. So our feelers are always external. Okay, what does this one think? What does that one think? Was that appropriate? What are they going to think? Blah, blah, blah. All humans live like that. All humans. At different levels. Worrying about what others think. And this comes from childhood. And the truth is, the majority of people are so involved with their own image, they don't really notice anyone else's. Like we're in our own problems, our own image, worrying about what other people think. There's not so much external attention. So you have to find internal security and love yourself unconditionally and push the boundaries. You push the boundaries to create the power to be you. Because if you're always worrying, there's always fear. And you've got to push through that fear. You have to challenge it. And that's why we have the facets. And it will start to dissolve. Because you'll start to see it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The important thing is that you're free to be yourself without addition, without looking for external approval, without questioning. So how do you get to that point? Well, firstly, you have to identify with consciousness, not with your head. Secondly, you need to be thinking the facets. And most important of all is that you're in the present moment. And you let the past go. Boom, boom, like that. And you don't worry about the future. It's the easiest. But you have to have an experience. And that's called loving yourself, no? Hmm?
Why I get so annoyed when I'm corrected on something or they tell me what I have to do?
Because you want control and you're very involved with your image. You're identifying with that. So when people say something to you, you feel criticized. Instead of taking it as an opportunity for growth. And when people tell you what to do, you feel like you're losing your freedom. But true freedom comes from your response to all situations. You know, when we're trying to define our individuality, it's very important to be right and to have control. But we get to a point that we realize that that control and that need to be right is completely involved in our egos. And we start to see that there's something much bigger. And we start to find that internally. Because it's consciousness. Consciousness, peace, well-being, internal security doesn't need to change the outside. It doesn't need to be affected by the outside. Because it's much bigger. But the ego is fragile, no? It's always looking for a defense. We always feel like little kids that are doing something wrong. And that's the response. It comes from a child trying to define themselves. And the age is of no consequence. Because people do it at 80. But once we start to identify with this, that internal abundance, we realize that there's no right or wrong. It just is. People have different opinions, different ideas, and something that's based in truth never needs a defense. You don't need to defend the truth, because the truth's the truth. A belief system, you have to defend. So it's about internal maturity. But it's normal. I mean, everyone does it. Because we're taught to do that. But you'll see with the system that there's something much more important that defines you, not the external approval. Yeah?
And I always have blockage with money. I earn a lot of money and then I lose it. And can you help me with this, please? Because I feel it's something that if I can fix it, I can fix my whole life.
Okay, well, firstly, that won't fix your life. Because it's all external. The car, the house, whatever. The thing you do have to fix is the depression. And you're going to fix that through finding internal abundance. So this is a root stress of something that transpired when you were young. And you've created a program of lack, and because of the lack, you go into depression. Okay? But it's not real. Because even you know that you're abundant and that you're an abundant creator. So you have to heal this internally. Because we have this concept, when I have this, this and this, I'm feliz. And more untrue is impossible. It's when I am internally abundant, I can enjoy what I have externally. And then I'm unlimited. So I have to start here. I have to be internally abundant. And obviously you have a judgment with it too. And you have to let it go. But the system will fix all of this. You'll expand consciousness. You'll feel good with you. And as a consequence, you'll open to receive, to deserve, and to find joy. A joy for life that doesn't be affected by the external. That's not affected by the external. You know, it's permanent. And that's real abundance. Yeah?
When emotionally something touches me, I cry. Or when something happens around me, if somebody takes it as a pain, that for me that becomes an extreme pain.
Okay, so what you're saying is you need to find a bit more equilibrium. You know, firstly, it's impossible to be overly sensitive. Okay, to be sensitive is our nature. We're taught to stop. We're taught not to feel our emotions, to be appropriate, We're taught many, many things. But there is a place where it can be extreme and it doesn't serve. So you will find a balance through the experience of consciousness. Most people are the opposite, completely shut down, don't express their emotions, and some people are extreme. And as you start to heal, you start to find a middle path where you feel comfortable and things aren't affecting you so much, nor are you disconnected. And it's very important to find that naturally. Because if you go to someone and say, oh, I have this problem, they usually medicate you so that you leave your body. But with the system, unless it's chemical, of course, you find an equilibrium. And it's very important to find that. So you feel comfortable with you. It's not about other people. It's about you being comfortable with you. Yeah?
How can I get better in my commitment with myself? I come here, I'm super happy. I find everything. I go to my reality afterwards, and everything is overwhelming, and it's overwhelming, and I get stuck there, and I don't move forward. So it's like it repeats. I repeat and I repeat this pattern.
Well, you have to incorporate this there. You know, you have to practice. You have to do meetings or the things online to really enforce your experience. You know, it's not that we come here and this place is magic. Oh, there's something in the water. When I enter here, all my problems leave. I just lay here. I tell someone my problems. I eat my vegetarian food. And then I go home and the bubble bursts. Yeah? Because when you go home, you have to keep doing it. And you have to commit. It's like anything. Consciousness is like a muscle. You have to exercise it. You have to focus on it. You have to love it and give it importance and feed it with what you're consuming externally, what you're consuming internally, with whom you're communicating. Because the illusion, the drama, it's very, very strong. And the intellect loves it. Oh, let's get involved in the political drama. Let's get involved in this drama and this drama. And oh, and before you know it, all the peace is gone. But if you're here, feeding this, unifying, using the facets, choosing, everything starts to change. It's like any mastery. It takes practice. You know, it's natural consciousness. It's available for everyone because it's who we are. And nothing grows faster than consciousness. The nature of consciousness is to keep moving to the higher frequency. But still we have to commit to it, you know. Because this place isn't magical at all. There's just a lot of people focused on the same thing. And it's a safe space. But at home, you can recreate that.
How come when I was a child, I was so happy here, and now I look at the wrong thing and I just see those things. I need to bring up that child. My question is how we can stop judging.
So what happened? Life. Life happened. Social prejudice, ideas. But it happens to all humans. You know, when we're children, we don't look at the external because we have such a profound internal abundance. We're just giving love. We just enjoy everything because everything's a discovery. But as an adult, we're trained. We're domesticated. This is good, this is bad, this is high, this is low, this is acceptable, this is poor, this is rich, this is whatever. And we have this accumulation of so many ideas and beliefs. And that is what creates our window of perception. Everyone's prejudiced. Everyone has judgments. Every person in this room. Because we are taught that. It can be subtle, it can be obvious, but it's there. So firstly, you have to stop judging yourself. Like you're some sort of alien that came from another planet. You're from planet Earth. Okay, and that's what happens to us. Now, forget about that and start going in. And start to find who you are. Because when you find you and you love you, everyone's free to be themselves. And you will love them because you're loving you. You won't care if they're black, white, rich, poor, gay, straight, whatever. You won't feel anything but your own internal love. But it starts with you. And if there is a judgment, you'll just laugh at it because you realize it's just something you've been taught. You know, I was raised in a very interesting situation because my parents were extremely open-minded, like completely, against prejudice, racism, war, you know, very, very intelligent people, religiously open on every area. And I also lived with my nana, or my grandmother, and she was the exact opposite. She hated Catholics, she hated Jews, she hated black people, Chinese people, Japanese people, German people. You name it, she was against it because she went through the war and she had all these ideas. So I was raised in both. And I see now that my landscape still has that duality, but I don't listen to it. It's not my experience anymore. And everything my nana represented, I was against that. I went in the opposite direction, no? But it still affected me. It was still there. And I could see it. And sometimes it was real. And I used it against myself. Okay? And then when I cleaned everything, I could see the perfection in all of it. But the judgment left. Because my judgment left. And that's how you heal it. You know, and in South America, it's quite classist. You know, in Australia it's not so obvious. But in South America, in some of the countries especially, it's very classist. And we learn that. We learn that. But it's about you letting go. Hmm? Yeah. So you'll find the child within, don't worry. Huh?
Help me to have more tools, not to feel so victim of life, because I'm in one piece and I have my son still, and maybe I can
So
fix
this
something.
moment is the most important. And everything that transpired was perfect. You were perfect. You did everything perfectly. And now you're going to learn to love you. You're going to expand consciousness. You're going to be able to see what a great job you did and appreciate yourself. And when you feel confident with you, you'll be able to share that. And it's the system, the expansion of consciousness. And once you expand that, and you let go of all this angst, you're going to be great. Yeah, just have to practice and expand the internal love. It's the only solution. There's no other solution. If you don't love yourself, there's no solution. If you can't find yourself and appreciate yourself, there's no solution. And this is the most wonderful thing. Because when we do that, and we're the only ones that can, it moves out. No one can do it for you. You have to do it for you. With all the love in the world. Yeah, and that's what you deserve.
Can you talk a bit about always saying yes, having a yes when things comes to you? Because sometimes I get a little bit confused. Because I say yes, yes, but I think, but in reality I want to say no, so I get a little bit confused. Till what point yes is a yes, because I don't want to put a limit to the others and I want to embrace everything and all great. But some other times afterwards I feel victim of that, because in reality I want to say no.
I never said you had to say yes to everything. You have to have a little bit of discernment, you know. If some guy walks up to you in the street and says, Mamita, I want to have sex with you, you don't have to say, see, when you want to say no. No. It's about having more of a see for the things you don't experience. Because we tend to be in a box. And a box that we feel safe in. So what happens if you're safe in a cage? You don't expand your horizons. You're not open to do things differently. So when I talk about putting a yes, it's about not automatically rejecting everything. But obviously you have to have a bit of discernment. Obviously. You have to trust in yourself. But if you can see that maybe yes, then do it. Push the limits. Try something new. But don't abandon yourself. And that's the key. Am I going to abandon myself? Am I going to feel like a victim? Am I going to be resented? You know, as you expand consciousness to such a point, you can basically say yes to everything. Because nothing affects you. But whilst you're in that process, you have to have a little bit of discernment, no? But not that automatic no. Yeah? Is that clear? Good, you're less confused. See. It can be dangerous, no? Ah.
My question is possible not to feel lonely being alone?
Sure. I think it's the most important thing for all humans to experience. To enjoy their own company. To enjoy being with themselves. Do you remember when you were a child? You could spend hours by yourself, discovering new things, not feeling lonely. And we need to come back to that space. Because that need to be with someone is codependency. I feel afraid. I feel insecure. I need to be with someone. Because when we're by ourselves, we start to discover ourselves. And as you expand consciousness, you want to be more by yourself. You enjoy your own company. You enjoy the silence. And it's not boring. It's fabulous. It's fabulous. It's like in the song, you know. I can buy myself flowers. I can hold my own hand. You know, and it's good to be in that space and not feel lonely. Yeah.
Come visit our webpage for books, movies, and our wonderful retreat centers. Isha's simple yet powerful system is transforming lives around the world.